Welcome back to small town Saskatchewan. It's the Friday afternoon of May 29th, 2020, and we are in Handsworth, Saskatchewan. Well, let's go up and take a look northwest up Railway Avenue. Canadian National Line came in from the right, from the north up there, from Peebles on the Brandon-Regina loop. That watercourse up there is all that remains of a fairly substantial spillway which helped drain Glacial Lake Regina back in the day. Canadian National built into here in 1924. There's the Y where the locomotives were turned around. CN was intending to build through another 35 miles to Lampman on the Literary Line, but they got this far and no further. And the remains of the elevators. The one we're flying over was likely the Saskatchewan Cooperative Elevator, built in 1925, sold by United Grain Growers in 1981 to Joe Jablonski. He demolished it in 2003. And this, I believe, is United Grain Growers elevator of 1924. UGG sold it to Dennis Smith in 1981 and it burned to the ground in 2002. You can see where Main Street Y's into Railway Avenue there. That's Range Road 80 west of the 2nd. Yonder. And the town site. And overflying Range Road 80 to look east over ridged moraine in through here. We're on the western shoulder of Moose Mountain, northwestern shoulder. Lots of abandoned buildings down there. That was never part of the town site. Looking north up the range road. And I don't think there was anything on this corner back in the early days. Everything was downtown on Main Street where the trees are there. At the far end, at the right end, there was a schoolhouse. There was a false fronted store, wherein was likely the post office. There was a big house across the street, and another, and an outdoor arena with some cover. Charles G. Wilson opened the Handsworth Rural Post Office March 25th, 1907. It was evidently moved onto the town site in 1926, and Mrs. Florence Lillian Hollingshead closed it on the 22nd of May, 1980. I think that ring down there in the road is the town well. The school stood in the lot north of that white foundation there. And looking around to the north, and you can see drilling pads and pump jacks. This is the very northern tip of the Viewfield oil field, part of the Williston Basin, holding the highly volatile light crude Bakken oil that we send by rail through Lac Mégantic every few days. And a closer look at the spillway. Gooseberry Lake and Moose Mountain Lake are upstream off to the right there. Vestigial Moose Mountain Creek meanders back and forth across the flood channel. You can almost see where the rail line comes down from the north. It was abandoned in 1981 and cleaned up by the end of the decade. These buildings are all north of the town site. There would have been homestead buildings in through here. Looking across Range Road 80 down there. We're on the school property walking the dog. He's off doing something somewhere. There was a big building along here, right in here. Don't know what it was. There was the elevator agent's house down this far, right across from the elevators. Not sure where the station was. Probably down near Main Street. It was at mile 22.3 from Peebles Junction on what CN called the Corning subdivision. It was just a freight passenger shelter dropped off in 1925 and sold off in 1974. We'll send the doggy over there to investigate that chunk of concrete. And this is Treaty 4 territory, also known as the Stone Fort Treaty, signed at Fort Capel in 1874 between some Cree and Saulteaux bands and Queen Victoria's representatives. Never incorporated as a village, never even organized as a hamlet. Handsworth, Saskatchewan.